Right, let's keep going from where that last video picked off. Final bit. Not so worried about that. Okay, yeah, I think it's worth knowing about mean, median, modes and stuff like that. Okay, so we need to know this, that the mean is where you add them all up and divide by how many there are. However, right, we'll talk about that problem solving. Now, median is the middle, right? It's the middle number, but they need to be in order. The mode is the most common number, and the range is the biggest, take away the smallest. So let's just do a couple of things. For example, ignore the question that's there a minute. If I told you that I needed to find 5 numbers where the median was 7, the mode was 6, the range was 11, and I am making this up, and it might not even work, right? And the mean was 8, 7, I don't know, 7 as well. Let's go. Right, it might not work, but let's go with it. I might have to change that. Here's what we do. The most obvious one is the median, because where do we put the median number? In the middle, and the middle here would be here, okay? If the mode is 6, that mode is the most common, the one that comes up the most. So we need more than one 6 in there, which we need a couple of 6s, and they have to go lower than 7 because they can't come above 7 because these are in order. The range is 11. The range is the gap between the smallest and the biggest, okay? The gap between the smallest and the biggest is the range. So if the smallest is 6, the biggest needs to be 17 to make a gap of 11. Now, finally, the mean tells you what they add up to, right? Now, again, I don't know if I've made this work. It might be that I'll change that to 8. I don't even know if that'll work, but we'll go with it, right? So if the mean is 8 and there are 5 numbers, those 5 numbers will need to add up to 40 to give an average of 8. So at the moment, 17 add 7 is 24. Oh, God. 24 add 6 is 30. 30 add 6 is 36. Therefore, that would be 4. That doesn't make sense. Let's change the mean to 9. So they need to add up to 45. Right? Again, it doesn't really make sense because I've made this up. But we just said that they add up to 36. Yeah? Well, if they add up to 36, that would need to be 9 to make them all add up to 45. Okay, let's read the one they've got, though. Here are 4 numbers. Find another set of numbers so the range is increased by 2. So at the moment, the range is 8. I need a new range of 10. The mean remains the same. 5 add 8 add 10 add 13 is 13. 23 is 36 they add up to. Now we could divide that by 4 to get 9, but basically they need to add up to 36. Right? The median is decreased by 1. At the moment, the median is the middle, but there is no middle. But between 8 and 10 would be 9. So at the moment, the median is 9. However, if it decreases by 1, it needs to become 8. Right? So let's 4 numbers. Okay. Bit of trial and error here, right? Which is why they've given me so much space. So let's start with the median. The median was 9. It now needs to be 8. So instead of having 8 and 10, I could do with probably having 7 and 9, so that the middle now is 8. So 1 either side of it, okay? The median is decreased by 1 done. The range is increased by 2, right? However, they need to add up to 36 because that's not changing. So if I put a 10 there as a guess, right? And the range is increased by 2. So instead of the... Oh, that doesn't make sense. 11. And if the range is increased by 2, instead of the range being 8, we need a range of 10, we said. So that would be 1. What do they add up to? 8, 17. They only add up to 28. Not high enough. Let's go for 14 and take away 10 from that to get 4. What do they add up to? 23, 30. They add up to 34. Close. Go up 1. 15 and 5. Okay, now the numbers, oh God, that was a complicated explanation. They add up to 36, which we wanted to. The range is 10, the biggest takeaway, the smallest is 10, and the median is now 8. That's a toughie. I much preferred my question. Okay, we've done some pie charty stuff. All right, so a bit of trigonometry. Quite a nice paper, actually, this, as a example one. Calculate the size of QPR. Follow it. Start at Q, go up to P, and down to R. So Q up to P and down to R. So that is the angle we want. The important letter, even though it doesn't say calculate the size of angle, it would be nice if they said this was an angle. Anytime you see something like that, the little roof on the middle one, that's the angle we want to find out, that middle one there. So in this case, we're looking for angle P. Now, this is not Pythag, because Pythagoras is about finding missing sides. If we were trying to find out the length of that, that would be Pythag, but it's an angle. So in trigonometry, the big side is the hypotenuse. The side opposite the angle we want is indeed called the opposite, and the other side is the adjacent. Which sides do we know? The hypotenuse and the opposite. So we're going to write. So, car, tower, right? Cross out S, cross out C, cross out T. Cross out H because we know it. Cross out O because we know it. Don't cross out A because we don't know it and we don't care what it is either. It's nothing to do with the question. So is what we're going to use. Draw a triangle. S, O, H, like speed, distance, time. We're trying to find the angle, which is S. So S, which stands for sin, angle we don't know, so I'm using that kind of funny angle, equals opposite divided by hypotenuse, right? Work that out, whatever that is on your calculator, but don't forget, whenever you're finding an angle, you need to sin minus 1, whatever that number is, and put that into your calculator. So that's one type of trigonometry question. That, ladies and gents, the last couple of things are really important to us as well. How long have I got? A little bit of time. Okay. I'm going to start with trial and improvement, I believe. We've done circle theorems. We can do a bit of percentages as well. And I think that's quite a nice paper to have gone through. So trial and improvement, I'm all over the place here. So a solution lies between 1 and 2. Let's get you, look, it's cubed. It's not squared, it's cubed. Don't make that mistake, right? It's going to be cubed. We're going to start in the middle, 1.5. So we're going to write 2 in brackets, 1.5 close brackets cubed, plus in brackets, 1.5 close brackets, take away 10 equals. We put that into our calculator, and if the answer is bigger than 0, we'll write too big. If it's smaller than 0, we'll write it too small, okay? I'm actually going to do this one, but I'm not going to do the full question because there's just not time, and I'll do one with you on the day of revision. Okay, it comes out to be, if I press the FD button, minus 1.75. Anything negative is lower than 0. That is too small. If it's too small, we need to increase this. We go 1.6. If that's still too small, we go 1.7. If that's still too small, and we keep going up until we get one that's too big. Once we get one that's too big, closest one to 0, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 is your answer. So either X is 1.6 or 1.7 or 1.8 or maybe 1.9. I don't even know what the answer is here. But to prove it, you do a check at the end, which is between 1.6 and 1.7 or between 1.7 and 1.8 or whatever it is. So the check could be like, if the answer is somewhere between these two, then I would check 1.75 just to confirm my answer. Okay, so trial and improvement. Okay. Simultaneous equations didn't come up. It's got a good chance, unfortunately. It doesn't look like simultaneous equations. I want simultaneous equations to look like simultaneous equations, but this is wordy or could be shapy or it's horrible, right? There are 7 adults and 2 children in the Morgan family. The cost for the Morgan family is £41.50. There are 4 adults and 3 children in the Smith family. The cost for the Smith family is this. It says use X for adults and Y for children. So there are 7 adults plus 2 children in the Morgan family, and the cost is £41.50. Then there are 4 adults and 3 children in the other family, and the cost is £29.75. So the method is as follows. Have I got time? We're going to make time, right? Okay. Start looking at the Y's. It's hard enough, even if you can get to there and actually write them, if they do a wordy one, that is, it would be great. Make the Y's the same. We can make them both be 6 by tripling that one and doubling that one. We need to triple everything though. So we get 21x plus 6y, and we need to triple this as well. So it's £124.50. Here we're doubling everything. Double that, double that, Oh, dear me. Make me do that in my head. 58, 59, 50, I believe. Right? Once we've got the y's the same, we look at the signs. And we're either doing same signs subtract, like we are here, they're the same. Or if one is plus and one is minus, then we'll use different signs add. But in this case, they're the same, so we subtract. 21 take away 8 is 13x. They disappear. And 124, I should do this in my head, but I'm just slow today. Take away 59, 50. So take those away from each other, you get 65. If 13x is 65, then x is 65 divided by 13, which is 5. Then go back to the start. Pick one of them. Any one of the ones you started with. Any one. I've just used the top one there. But we now know that x is 5. Okay, so 7 5s, if we put a 5 in there, 7 5s are 35, plus 2y is 4150. So we need to take that away from there, which is £6.50. And because it's 2y is £6.50, y is half of £6.50, which is £3.25, but x is 5. Okay. I'm going to go back to trigonometry. Right, I'm going to just do a different one to end. Again, I should have 2 minutes, and I think that will be enough revision. Right, I will talk about something called estimated mean, but I'll do it in class again. Now, if I told you the angle here, and I put 14 here, and I put A, B, C, and instead of asking you to work out an angle, I said, what is the length of A, B? A to be that one. In this case, the hypotenuse, I don't know it and I don't need it. The opposite, I know it. And the adjacent, I need it. So in this case, SOHCAHTOA, again, it's trigonometry because it's something to do with an angle. You either know the angle or you want an angle. Okay, you either know an angle or you want an angle. Whereas Pythag is just side, 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 square, square, add, square root, square, square, right? Cross at SCT, always do. This time we cross at the one we know, which is the opposite, and the one we want to know. That we don't cross at H because we don't know it and we don't care about it. TOA looks like this, but what are we actually trying to find? We're trying to find the adjacent, which is this one. So to find the adjacent, it's the opposite 14 divided by t, which stands for the word tan. But this time we know the angle, so into the brackets we can put that into our calculators. I'm just doing it as we speak. And our final answer here, and again, you could round this, I guess, to one decimal place, is 15.5. I think that'll do. Yeah, do you know what I mentioned really quickly, because I just think we've covered quite a lot here. I think just on this page here, forget the question that's there. Forget these questions a minute. And forget circle theorems, it's gone. If they said estimate the mean, we did a bit of averages earlier, and they had things like 0 to 10 there, or 10 to 30, or 30, let's just make it up to 100. And over here you had 6, 2, and 5. I don't know, 6, 2, and no, let's go 6, 2, and 2, right? This could be anything. H for height, or T could be that, and it could be time or weight. It could be anything. And this is frequency. To estimate the mean, you need the middle of each group. The middle of 0 to 10 is 5. The middle of 10 to 30 is 20. It's halfway up. And 30 to 100 is a jump of 70. So halfway up would be 35 into that group, so 65. You times them by the frequency. So middle times 6, middle times 2, middle times 2. You work them out. 30, 40, 130. You add up, to work out the mean, you add them all up, which is 200 in this case, and you divide by how many people there are. So even though you've added up 3 numbers, because there are 10 people, you divide this by 10, so the mean here would be 20. Okay, there we go. That's more than enough here.